In today's software world, everything moves incredibly fast. New apps, updates, they just seem to appear constantly, right? So the big question is, how on earth do companies keep quality high? How do they make sure everything actually works when they're moving at, well, lightning speed?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're diving into today, continuous testing in DevOps. So our goal here really is to unpack all this material you've provided. We want you to walk away really getting what continuous testing is, how it's fundamentally different from the older ways, why it's so critical now, and yeah, both the upsides and the challenges teams run into. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding a key piece of modern software development.
It's a really good point because at its core, this is all about ensuring quality at speed. That's the fundamental business challenge, isn't it? And it affects everyone because we all use software constantly, every day. Getting it right quickly matters. Okay, so let's break it down. From what we've seen, continuous testing is basically a type of software testing where you're checking the software at every stage of its development lifecycle. The whole idea is testing early and testing often, evaluating quality constantly through the whole continuous delivery process, not just, waiting till the end. And it involves everyone, the developers, the DevOps folks, QA teams, even the operational systems. They all have a part to play. And here's where it gets really, really interesting comparing this to the old way. The difference is stark. That traditional method is very much a handoff approach, like a relay race. Development did their bit, and they literally handed it off to a separate QA team for a distinct testing phase. And you'd often hear QA teams saying they needed more time, right? Prioritizing quality, sometimes over the project timelines.
Exactly, and that created this tension.
Yeah.
Businesses started saying, look, we need software out faster. The driver was commercial, really. The newer the software, the quicker you can market it, the more revenue potential. That market pressure, that need for speed, it fundamentally pushed the industry towards this new way of testing. So when we talk about continuous here, it really means undisrupted. Testing that happens on a continuous basis. Think of it like a constantly flowing stream, not separate pools. In this continuous DevOps process, code is always being developed, delivered, tested, and deployed. It just keeps moving through the pipeline.
Right, and there's a really concrete example in the sources that paints a picture. Imagine a developer checks code into something like Jenkins, a source code server. Instantly, automated unit tests kick off. If they fail, build rejected, developer gets notified straight away, almost immediate feedback. But if it passes, then it gets deployed automatically to, say, performance and QA servers. There, more functional tests, load tests run often in parallel, which is key for speed. And only if those pass does it get pushed to production. It's this fast, automated, self-correcting flow.
Precisely. And it's interesting how the sources frame continuous testing. They call it a small cog in the bigger machine. That machine being the whole continuous development, integration,
Yeah.
and deployment cycle. It's essential, absolutely integral, but it's one specific part of that larger continuous flow. It's like the quality pulse of the whole system.
That description actually brings up a really common question, one I hear a lot. Isn't this all just automation? People often seem to mix up continuous testing and test automation, but they're not the same thing, are they? Let's clarify that.
That's a crucial distinction, yeah.
Yeah.
Task automation itself is, well, it's simply using a tool or software to automate tasks, usually repetitive ones. The goal is speed and reducing human error for those specific tasks. And, automated testing isn't new. It's been around for decades. You can absolutely have automation in testing without doing continuous testing. In that model, maybe releases take, I don't know, a month, maybe longer, even years in some old systems. And feedback comes, regularly after each big test cycle, but it's not instant or constant.
Okay, so that's automation. Now, continuous testing, that's different. It's described as a software testing methodology. The focus is on achieving continuous quality and improvement across the whole pipeline. Its purpose isn't just speed for a task. It's about finding risks early, addressing them, and improving the product quality at every step. And here's the kicker. You can't do continuous testing without test automation. Automation is the enabler. Continuous testing is newer, designed for this world where releases happen maybe weekly, maybe even hourly. And because it's so fast, the feedback has to be instant at each stage. No waiting around.
Exactly. So maybe think of it like this. Test automation is a specific tool, like, say, a power drill. It helps you do one job faster. Continuous testing is the whole strategy for building the house. You're using the power drill, sure, but also the level, the measuring tape, everything at every stage of construction, constantly checking quality before you move on. It leverages automation to create this constant end-to-end feedback loop, all driven by that need for speed and immediate quality checks.
That's a really helpful analogy. Okay, so if that's the strategy, how do teams actually do continuous testing in practice? What are the steps? Well, the sources highlight a few key things. It often starts with tools that can generate automation suites right from the requirements or user stories. Then, critically, you need to set up a proper test environment. That's foundational. And getting the data right is huge, copying production data, but making sure it's anonymized to create a realistic test data bed. There's also this technique called service virtualization, basically, faking parts of the system you depend on so you can test your bit without waiting. Great for testing APIs. And finally, running performance tests in parallel, not sequentially, to save that crucial time. It's quite a systematic setup.
It is. And the tools that enable this, well, there's a whole ecosystem now. The sources list a few interesting ones. Take query search. It's called out as a smart data testing solution, even the first of its kind full DevOps solution for continuous data testing.
Hmm.
What makes it suitable for continuous is things like its robust API over 60 calls, apparently detailed analytics for quick insights, and how it plugs right into the DevOps pipeline to verify lots of data really fast. Super important when data is always changing.
Right, data testing is a big piece. What else?
Then there's Jenkins. We mentioned it earlier. It's a core continuous integration tool. Its job is often to orchestrate things like automatically kicking off those tests as soon as code is checked in. That's key for the continuous part.
Okay.
There's also Travis CI. It's another popular one, often used with GitHub projects. It offers hosted options, or you can write it yourself, and it supports a bunch of different languages, which gives teams flexibility.
Makes sense.
And you can't talk web testing without Selenium. It's the open source standard, really. Its WebDriver lets you automate tests across all the major browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Safari,
Yeah.
i.e., essential for ensuring web apps work everywhere. So these tools, working together, they form the technical backbone that makes continuous testing feasible.
Okay, so you invest in the strategy, you set up the tools, the processes. What's the big win? What are the benefits teams are seeing? The sources list quite a few. Number one seems to be speed it can ever. It accelerates software delivery and therefore accelerates time to market. That continuous feedback mechanism is the key. It's not just faster, though. It's also about quality. It improves code quality significantly and helps teams understand their exact business risk coverage much earlier.
Yeah, and it fits right in. It
Oh,
seamlessly integrates into the DevOps process, which helps build a more agile, reliable development flow, potentially cutting down processes from months to hours in some cases.
that's impressive.
And there's a big organizational benefit, too. It helps merge traditionally siloed teams. That old wall between developers, testers, and operations starts to come down, which is vital for modern needs.
Right, breaking down silos, plus the automation aspect brings consistency, right? Same configuration for all tests.
Exactly. And it keeps the focus on business expectations to mitigate business risks. And things like service virtualization give teams that ubiquitous test environment access, even if parts of the real system aren't ready.
So when you put it all together,
Yeah, the big picture is that continuous testing leads to not just faster software, but fundamentally better, more reliable software that can actually respond quickly to what the market needs. And it really transforms how teams collaborate. Quality becomes everyone's job, baked in from the start. That cultural shift might be the most profound impact.
okay, this sounds amazing. Faster, better, more collaborative. It seems like a total no-brainer. But like anything worthwhile, I assume it's not always easy. What are the challenges? What hurdles do teams face?
Oh, definitely. It's not a magic wand. The sources are pretty clear about the obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
A major one is culture. That traditional process is limiting cultural shift. People in dev and QA are used to working in certain ways, and changing those ingrained habits and mindsets, that's really tough.
I can imagine. The people side is often the hardest.
Absolutely. Then there's the skills gap, a lack of DevOps skills,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe not having the right tools for testing in agile and DevOps environments,
Yeah.
or knowing how to use them effectively.
So skills and tools, what else?
Test environments are a persistent headache. Having heterogeneous test environments which will never reflect production perfectly. You're always trying to get closer, but it's hard. And sometimes legacy issues hold things back. Conventional testing processes or loosely defined test data management, they just don't fit the continuous model.
Right, old habits die hard.
Plus, if you still have longer code integration cycles where developers don't merge code frequently, that creates integration issues and late defect fixes, which kind of defeats the purpose of continuous.
Yeah, undermines the whole flow.
Then there are resource constraints, insufficient and ineffective resources and test environments. You need the infrastructure to support this. And finally, sometimes the application itself is the barrier. Complex application architecture and business logic that just wasn't designed for this kind of rapid iterative cycle can really restrict DevOps adoption.
Wow. Okay. So those challenges really highlight that this isn't just plugging in a new tool. It's a significant shift, organizationally and culturally, requires real commitment. So let's try and wrap this up. To bring it back to the core message for everyone listening. Continuous testing, it's fundamentally about testing early, testing often, testing everywhere, and automate. That's the mantra. It's the modern way, replacing that old, slower, handoff-centric model. And it relies on tool Jenkins for triggering automation, Travis for managing diverse environments, Selenium for making sure web stuff works, all geared towards getting actionable feedback constantly throughout the pipeline to seriously improve code quality.
Exactly. And yes, there are hurdles. Those cultural shifts are real. Integrating everything can be tricky, especially with those longer code integration cycles creating problems. But the payoff, faster delivery, better quality software, is why it's become so essential. It's about building quality in, not just inspecting it out at the end.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. We've talked a lot about testing early and testing often in software, driven by the need for speed and quality. But could these principles apply elsewhere? Think about your own work, maybe even parts of your daily life. Where else is that combination of quality and speed critical? Could that mindset of continuous early checks make a difference in other areas too? Something to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.